What would you do if you came home to find a lien notice plastered on your door, demanding thousands you never owed, signed by the one person you trusted to protect your neighborhood? That's the nightmare I walked into one humid evening in Pinecrest Grove, a quiet suburban haven where I'd lived for 3 years without a single late payment. The yellow paper screamed I owed the HOA du law $4,204. Unpaid fees and fines. My heart sank as I tore it from the door, certain it was a mistake. I'd always paid on time, kept my lawn trimmed, my trash cans hidden. But as I dialed my neighbor, Jamal, the truth hit like a freight train. "Man, everyone on the block got one," he said, voice shaky. "Lila across the street's notice says she owes Dula $5,800. By nightfall, our neighborhood chat was a war zone. 27 households, all slapped with liens, each amount different, all claiming we'd failed to pay our dues. Panic spread like wildfire. These liens could tank credit scores, block home sales, even lead to foreclosure. Someone was targeting our entire community, and we were about to find out who. The name on the paperwork? Sandra Mitchell, president of the Pinecrest Grove HOA. In just over a year, Sandra had gone from eager volunteer to the neighborhood's self-appointed dictator. When she joined the board, nobody else wanted the job. She promised to boost property values, keep things pristine. We thought she was just enthusiastic. But within weeks, her true colors bled through. My first run-in came when she slapped a citation on my door for a non-approved birdhouse in my yard. I checked the bylaws, nothing about birdhouses. Turns out, Sandra had rewritten the rules overnight. Jamal got fined for a basketball hoop in his driveway. A family down the street caught hell for their kids' chalk drawings on their own pavement. "It's not personal," Sandra would coo, her fake smile never touching her icy blue eyes. "I'm just enforcing the rules we all signed up for." She strutted around with a tablet, snapping photos of every minor infraction, her short blonde hair bouncing as she hunted for her next target. HOA meetings, once sleepy affairs, became standing room only as residents fought her endless fines. She'd waive her paperwork, cite obscure bylaws, and shut down anyone who dared question her. The other board members? They just nodded, too spineless to challenge her. But these liens? This was no petty power trip. This was a calculated attack. Liens require unpaid dues, multiple warnings, and board approval, none of which we'd received. That night, I set up a private online group for the affected homeowners. Patterns emerged fast. Those who'd called Sandra out at meetings got the highest lien amounts. If you'd posted about her on social media, you were next. This wasn't random, it was revenge. "She claims the board approved these," said Clara, a retired nurse who'd lived here for 15 years. "But my brother's on the board, and he swears they never voted on any liens. I've got receipts for every payment," added Diego, a young dad who'd just bought his house. "I showed them to Sandra, and she said they didn't matter because of hidden violations I never heard about." As an accountant, I knew something was off. I collected everyone's lien documents and started digging. The red flags were blatant: filing dates on weekends when the county office was closed, mismatched fonts on the same form, and the HOA treasurer's signature Tom Reynolds looking different every time. "These don't add up," I told the group. "I think some of these signatures are forged." Sandra caught wind of our investigation and called an emergency HOA meeting. She stood at the community center podium, her navy blazer crisp, silver necklace glinting, radiating fake concern. "Certain residents are spreading lies and harassing board members," she said, her voice syrupy but sharp. "This won't be tolerated. The liens are legal and justified." When I stood to ask about the process, she had my mic cut. When Clara demanded to see board minutes approving the liens, Sandra claimed they were confidential, due to legal action. The room boiled with anger, but Sandra doubled down. "Anyone who keeps challenging these debts will face more penalties and lawsuits for defamation," she snapped, her eyes locking on mine. After the meeting, she cornered me in the parking lot. Up close, her polished facade cracked, her voice low and venomous. You should watch yourself, she hissed. Troublemakers in Pinecrest don't last long. Wouldn't want your lien to accidentally climb higher. That moment, I knew this wasn't just about control. Sandra was playing a bigger, dirtier game. But how? And how could we prove it? The breakthrough came from Evelyn Carter, a retired paralegal hit with a smaller lien. While we'd been studying Sandra's copies, Evelyn went straight to the county clerk and pulled the original filings. These aren't just HOA liens, she said over coffee, sliding a folder to me. They're filed under a company called Pinecrest Property Solutions, an LLC registered 6 months ago. The address is a P.O. box. My jaw dropped. Sandra wasn't acting for the host, created a shell company to file the liens, likely pocketing the money when terrified homeowners paid to clear their titles. There's more, Evelyn whispered. The notary stamps on these documents? 3 different notaries supposedly signed them on the same day, in different counties. That's impossible. Forging official documents wasn't just an HOA violation, it was felony fraud. We knew confronting Sandra directly was risky. She'd already proven she'd retaliate. So we split our plan. We'd take RUVY Denke to the police and tip off a local reporter who'd covered HOA scandals before. While waiting for the cops to move, we kept digging. An anonymous board member leaked meeting minutes proving no liens were ever approved. The HOA's accountant confirmed there were no records of delinquent payments to justify the liens. Most damning, Sandra was the only one with access to the HOA's official seal and letterhead used on the fake documents. The investigation snowballed. In 2 weeks, the DA subpoenaed the HOA's records and Sandra's bank accounts. The news broke a story headlined, "Neighborhood Tyrant or Criminal Mastermind? The Woman Behind Pinecrest's Lien Crisis." Folks from nearby communities shared tales of Sandra's brief, chaotic stints on their HOA boards before she vanished. Through it all, Sandra kept up her act, sending emails calling the investigation a witch hunt by problem residents. She even scheduled another HOA meeting to clear up the slander. That meeting was her undoing. I got there early, surprised by the packed room. Sandra stood at the front in a scarlet jacket, shuffling papers with the smugness of someone who thought she was untouchable. At 7 p.m. sharp, she tapped the mic. "Before we begin, I want to address the false claims about our financial actions," she started, her smile as fake as ever. Then the double doors burst open. 2 cops and a detective I'd met at the station marched in. The room went dead quiet. "Sandra Mitchell," the detective called, striding toward her. Sandra's smile flickered. "We're in a meeting," she snapped. "This can wait." "It can't," the detective said, stopping in front of her. "I have a warrant for your arrest on multiple felony counts: forgery, fraudulent liens, identity theft, and extortion." Sandra's face went white. She scanned the crowd, expecting backup, but found only stunned faces and a few stifled grins. "This is absurd," she stammered. "I'm the president of this HOA." "Ma'am, hands behind your back," an officer ordered. As the detective read her rights, Sandra's tablet hit the floor with a thud. The sight of her, the woman who'd terrorized us, being cuffed and let out, burned itself into our memories. Days later, the DA's findings floored us. Sandra's fake LLC was just the start. She didn't even own a home in Pinecrest, she'd been renting a condo 3 miles away under an alias, forging property records to join the board. The DA hit her with 7 counts of document fraud, 3 of criminal impersonation, and 27 of attempted extortion, 37 felonies total, with up to 12 years in prison and due law $100,000 in fines if con vy Ted. At her arraignment, the Sandra we knew was gone. Her perfect hair was flat, her face bare and pale. When the judge denied bail, citing her plans to flee the state, she collapsed into sobs, screaming we'd all been against her from the start, that she was just upholding standards. As she was dragged from the courtroom, still whining about fairness, I couldn't help but think, for once, Sandra faced a rulebook she couldn't rewrite. Pinecrest Grove was free, but the scars of her reign would linger, a warning of what happens when power falls into the wrong hands.